The Pokemon games have a long and rich history. Ask anyone who's ever played a Pokemon game before, regardless of the generation, and they'll probably tell you that they've devoted hours to completing the game and uncovering all of its mysteries. And when you have a franchise with a mythos as large as that, you're bound to have a handful of urban legends pop up over the years. So today we're returning to a previous list of ours, the top 10 Pokemon urban legends, part 2. Let's dive in. And at number 10, the Mew glitch. Let's start off our list with the only urban legend that's actually been confirmed to be true, the Mew glitch. Now, to be fair, back in the day when it was rumored that you could get a Mew via a sequence of events that brought you from Viridian City all the way to Cinnabar Island, many a player wasted hours surfing along the island's edges trying to capture this legendary Pokemon. But in 2003, it was revealed that there was actually 2 methods of successfully making this glitch work. Each involves a series of specific steps, with one of them allowing the player to obtain Mew fairly early on in the game. And at number 9, MEWTHREE. MEWTHREE is, you guessed it, a fake legendary Pokemon. It's perhaps one of the earliest fakes too. This urban legendary Pokemon spawned thanks to some screenshots of hacked games that depicted that there was an extra clone of Mews that hadn't appeared in the original narrative of the initial games. There was also an official reference to a MEWTHREE in the Pokemon manga, where Red's CLEFABLE calls itself MEWTHREE after it splices itself with Mewtwo's DNA. Players attempted to make MEWTHREE appear, but often ended up just accidentally erasing their game's saved data in the process. And at number 8, Charizard Island. There are many intriguing locations to be discovered in the Pokemon games from all generations. But during the days of Red, Blue, and Yellow, some players were convinced that there was one location hidden in the game that offered a whole lot of promise. There was a rumor abound that a place called Charizard Island existed, and that it was home to Charmanders, Charmeleons, and of course, Charizards. While this has never proven to pan out, the anime actually integrated this idea into one of its episodes, with Ash Ketchum going to Terrific Valley and Johto to train his unruly Charizard. And at number 7, Gengar and CLEFABLE. Take a look at Gengar. Now take a look at CLEFABLE. Arguably, if you look at their silhouettes, they have somewhat of a similar shape. Not spot on, mind you, but it is similar. This urban legend suggests that Gengar is the shadow of CLEFABLE. Originating as a creepypasta, some observant fans put together some quite reasonable evidence to suggest that it's an idea that isn't entirely implausible. The two have the same hands, ears, and feet. Gengar is listed as a shadow Pokemon, and as many players have pointed out, that suggests that Gengar is the shadow of something or someone, and that because one is a normal type and the other a ghost type, neither can hit the other with stab attacks, since they'd be immune to one another. Plus, Clefairy was originally supposed to be one of the Pokemon mascots before it was decided that Pikachu was a better fit, so it has some merit for being important and having an interesting backstory like this. Yet this has never been proven to be true. And at number 6, the Jump HM. HMs have always played an important role in the games. From fly to surf to strength to cut, they're all integral to completing your quest of becoming a Pokemon master, and unlocking all of the areas of the game's map. But at one point there was an urban legend that suggested that initially, Game Freak had created an HM that was ultimately left out of the final games. It was called Jump. Jump could be used to scale obstacles. This is because there are parts of Kanto where tall grass exists, but it's ultimately unreachable. This got many players thinking, what could be in there? Rare items? Rare Pokemon? There had to have been a way to reach that tall grass. Surely it wasn't decorative, and that's where this mysterious Jump HM comes in, despite never actually having been proven to exist. That actually brings us to our next number, in at 5, Wild Starters. Back in Pokemon Red and Blue, there was a rumor that you didn't have to settle on just one starter Pokemon. You could catch them all, and just outside of Pallet Town to boot. But the trick was you needed to force the game to glitch to let you get outside of the walls of Pallet Town. You know, those little square-esque blockades that restricted you to the playable map. Now, players who used a walk through walls glitch managed to get out there, but to their sad discovery, the game would simply crash rather than give them their coveted starter Pokemon. Yet for years, this rumor was rather persistent. And at number 4, Down+B. Back in the early days of Pokemon games, there was a rampant urban legend that if you held the down button and the B button, you'd be able to catch Pokemon better. It was a rumored tactic that, if you held down these buttons at just the right time when your Pokeball was closing, was meant to ensure that your catch would be solidified. This, my friends, is a dirty lie. It didn't increase your chances whatsoever, although some players still swear by it as a good luck charm. To each their own, I suppose. And at 3, Magikarp's Splash. Magikarp has a reputation of being rather useless. This is all thanks to its signature move, Splash. Splash is defined as a move that involves only flapping and splashing around in front of your opponent, and has no effect whatsoever. How is Splash so useless? It must do something, right? Enter the fan theories. There was an urban legend brewed up back in the days of Red and Blue that suggested Splash had some sort of hidden ability, and that depending on the circumstances or what Pokemon it was used on, it would have some sort of effect. One theory was that it was secretly just as powerful as Hyper Beam. Yeah, right. Well, if Splash has some sort of hidden secret ability or affects a certain Pokemon in a certain way, it's yet to be discovered. And considering Magikarp is a Generation 1 Pokemon, it's safe to say that Splash is pretty much exactly what it appears to be. A harmless, useless move that you must endure if you really want to level up your Magikarp into a Gyarados. Whatever happened to just accepting that as a cruel but hilarious joke of Game Freaks? Come on, guys. And at number 2, Ditto's origins. Ditto is a fascinating Gen 1 Pokemon. It's a literal pink blob, with the versatile ability of transforming into whatever opponent it faces, which at times can be quite beneficial if not at least a decent defensive tactic. But because of its appearance, Ditto spawned an urban legend, that in fact it had a tie to the legendary Pokemon Mew, and that it was one of the failed attempts to clone Mew in the process that brought upon Mewtwo. Now in addition to this, in Pokemon Yellow, Ditto can be found at the Pokemon Mansion, the birth site of Mewtwo and those Mew experiments. And finally, in at number 1, Ghost Girl. Ever since her first appearance in the Gen 6 games, Ghost Girl has been a bit of a question mark to many a player. So, who is she? Well, for starters, she first appears in Pokemon X and Y in Lumos City, appearing after a flash of light and then stating, "No, you're not the one," only to disappear a moment later. While this spawned many different fan theories, one in particular is that the one that she's looking for hinges on a certain trainer ID number. If that number is yours, something will happen. You're the one. What exactly that is, though, is highly debated since, this has never actually happened to anyone, or at least anyone who's reported it online. Game Freak has remained rather silent about it too. Realistically though, Ghost Girl has only proven to be an Easter egg in Pokemon X, Y, Alpha Sapphire, and Omega Ruby. Alright, there we have it, friends. What other Pokemon legends can you think of? Which ones from our past 2 lists were your favorites? Give us a shout in those comments below and let us know. If you dug this video, spread the love, hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe to Top 10 Gaming to hang out with us some more. And if you haven't seen it yet, be sure to check out our part 1 of this list for more great Pokemon urban legends. In the meantime though, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.